Hello, welcome. My name is Jonathan Curtis, and this is video number 2 in the video series exploring the roll studies in George Lawrence Stone's stick control. In the previous video, I tackled the odd rolls, looking at the open roll combinations, the rhythms involved, the tuplets, how to produce the underlying rhythm, and how those rolls are intended to be performed. What I did not cover in that first video were the closed rolls. So that's what I'm going to be looking at today, how to read them, how to perform them, how to conceptualize them as being different from the open rolls that we looked at last time. It is worth saying from the outset that the open and closed roll terminology is itself a little bit ambiguous, so the way Stone uses them in stick control is not necessarily indicative of how it is used everywhere and by everybody. So do bear in mind that the terminology does have a little bit of overlap and it doesn't always mean precisely the same thing. In stick control, Stone makes a distinction between what he calls open rolls and closed rolls. Open rolls are what we looked at last time and essentially constitute double strokes. Open rolls are played with precisely 2 strokes per hand, with the fingers clearly articulating each stroke. That is an open roll, and a fast open roll involves just doing that faster. There are precisely 2 strokes per hand, and I am in control of both of those strokes. The closed roll that Stone talks about is described in the introduction to the book, and he likens it to the sort of roll produced by orchestral drummers. And this is something that I find really fascinating because this book was written in 1935, and buzz rolls did not exist in the American rudimental tradition. There are no pieces before around about 1955 with people like William J. Shinstein. There are no pieces in the traditional rudimental repertoire that contain buzz rolls. So Stone in 1935 is stepping outside of the tradition in which he is working and addressing snare drummers from different disciplines. Specifically, he is reaching out to drummers in the orchestral discipline for whom the buzz roll was already an established technique. So these closed rolls are, of course, buzz rolls. He describes producing multiple bounces with a single stroke. He does warn against producing what he calls a scratch roll, which is a forceful downwards motion to which he says no musical drummer would have any use whatsoever. So he talks about delicacy and touch and, of course, control, which is the name of the game here. So our first port of call here is to be able to actually produce these buzz rolls, these closed rolls, and understand how they are formed. Now, it is not my intention here to do a tutorial on buzz rolls as a technique. However, one of the most important things to understand, which has direct connotations as to how these roll studies are performed, is that buzz rolls are based on single strokes. So if I play 4 single strokes, I turn that into a buzz roll by replacing each single stroke with an individual buzz stroke. Now, of course, individually and at that sort of speed, it doesn't sound like much, but this is the basis for how buzz rolls are performed. As I get better at doing that, I learn to have a longer duration on each buzz. I'm trying to stretch out that buzz for as long as I can, and this means that I can overlap them. The next one starts before the previous one has finished. So you can see by watching my wrists, I don't need to be moving very fast in order for the buzz roll to start to take shape. What I need to be doing is producing a buzz stroke consistently, and those buzz strokes will overlap to produce the unbroken sound effect. However, that is a latter stage. This occurs in the later stages of this approach, and we need to be comfortable reading the studies first. However, as I said, it is really important to understand from the get-go that we are essentially dealing with a modification to single strokes. In the previous video, in the odd roll and the open roll studies, we are very much dealing with double strokes. That is not the case here. We are dealing with single strokes, and everything we do is going to be based on that. So we're dealing with touch, we're dealing with articulation and control and a delicacy. But it is worth stating again, just before I dive into the studies, that despite the language, delicate, touch, articulation, buzz strokes are not weak. They are a powerful stroke. You need to be firm and you need to be confident and powerful with it. That doesn't mean tense, and it doesn't mean aggressive, and it doesn't mean forceful, but it does mean firmly in control. The reason being, to get that stick to buzz, to bounce multiple times, enough energy has to be going through the stick to facilitate that. If I'm just very weak with that and I just drop the stick, some people try to develop a buzz roll that is very wet, very loose, very noodly, and there's just not enough power going through the stick to produce the buzz. So I am quite strong there in my grip and my stroke. That does not mean I'm tense, but it means I'm in control and I am firm with it. And I need enough energy to be going down through the stick to cause it to bounce multiple times. As I said, I've done videos before on the actual technique of buzz strokes if you want to explore those. So let's get on with it. Let's turn to page 12 of stick control. And this is the short roll combinations and the first time that these closed rolls appear. So there's two things to say. First of all, we notice the use of terminology. Underneath exercise number 1, which is bracketed, we see the instruction, 9-stroke closed roll. We also see a change in the notation. We have a half note with 3 strike-throughs and a tie. Now again, this is something we have to be very careful of because the use of notation in this era was not standardized. Today, and through most of the rudimental history, most of the American rudimental tradition especially, that sort of notation with the strike-throughs does refer to open rolls. If you were playing Pratt or Wilcoxon and you saw a roll notation like that, you would play it as double strokes. You would play a 9-stroke double-stroke roll. Here, Stone is using the notation that was available to him during his day, to identify a roll, but to use it differently to the open notation, where he uses individual 16th notes. So in this very particular instance, this roll notation in stick control is always used to denote a buzz roll. The open rolls are always shown using individual 16th or 32nd notes. And if you explore the rest of the book, you will see this holds true all the way through. So, first of all, let's have a look at exercise number 1 on page 12. We're in cut common time, which is itself a source of confusion. Cut common time is, for all intents and purposes, 2 beats to the bar with 4 eighth notes per beat. So it is mathematically equivalent to 4/4, but where 4/4 feels the beat as 4 quarter notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, cut common time feels the beat as 2 half notes, 1, 2, 1, 2, but the notes inside it are eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and counting it that way shows you how there is overlap with 4/4. The reason Stone has done this is to allow him to use larger note values. We're using eighth notes and 16th notes rather than 16th notes and 32nd notes. It just makes it a little bit easier to read. So that's going to be really important in what's going to follow, because as you can see on page 13, there are longer roll studies which we need to count. So for all intents and purposes, the first bar of exercise 1 comprises 2 beats. The first beat are those 4 eighth notes played as single strokes. The second beat is the 9-stroke roll itself, and this is the first point of confusion. How many strokes do you play in that 9-stroke roll? And the way that this is generally understood is that the answer is not 9. The answer is 5. We play the 4 strokes of the roll, with the 5th stroke being the first note of the following repetition. So I'm actually playing 2 groups of 4 single strokes. And there's that 5th stroke at the end, which becomes the first beat of the following measure. Now, why is that the case if it says quite clearly 9-stroke closed roll? And the reason has to do with the terminology, and this is something that I wrote about a lot in the Rudimental Drummer when I'm discussing exactly this topic. It is standard, it is common in the parlance to link closed rolls to the same terminology used for open rolls of the same duration. If we are playing 4 sets of double strokes with an accent on the end, we get a 9-stroke roll. Dagga, 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 da. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. When we describe the buzz roll of the same duration, we are treating a buzz stroke in the same way as a double stroke. So essentially, both types of roll are treated as comprising 4 single strokes. The open roll modifies each of those to become diddles, and the closed roll modifies each of them to become buzz strokes. But for the sake of terminology, both are treated in the same way. So a 9-stroke buzz roll comprises 4 buzzes and the accent. And each buzz, from the point of view of terminology, is treated as a double stroke to count the strokes. I know that seems a little bit counterintuitive, but when you get used to it, it allows you to talk about the different types of roll with the same duration. Now, again, as I said at the beginning, this is somewhat controversial and there will be some people that use different terminology. Do bear this in mind. But when you explore the closed roll studies in stick control, as we are doing here, we will notice a direct correlation between the number of strokes we are to play and the sticking underneath each roll. Have a look at exercise number 1. Have a look at the sticking. We see it very clearly says right, left, right, left. This is telling us literally the strokes we are to play. Right, left, but each one is going to become a buzz. We will see later on as we explore the different subdivisions that the sticking changes to accommodate the correct number of notes. So for all intents and purposes, the terminology essentially doubles the number of strokes we are playing because, from the point of view of the terminology, a buzz stroke is treated as 2 strokes on the same hand, even though technically we know we're playing more strokes than that. So our first exercise, 4 single strokes, 4 buzzes, alternating. Now, of course, at a slow tempo, it is not going to sound like a buzz roll. And this is why, over the years, people have had a tendency to either add more notes in or become completely confused and disillusioned as to what they are supposed to play. Because if you are used to playing all of the previous 11 pages very slowly, or those wonderful single beat combinations, when you get to page 12 and you start exploring these closed rolls, it's very easy to feel like you're doing something wrong. But you have to persevere here because remember the name of the game, stick control. We are trying to develop the control to produce clean, articulate, and controlled buzz strokes. If you can do that on command, it's only a matter of speeding up the passage to generate the buzz roll. And as I do this, watch how I'm only playing the same 4 strokes every time. You can start to hear there the buzz roll created, and it sounds the way we want these to sound. And that is why we are dealing with only 4 buzz strokes rather than trying to cram in 8 or 9 to fulfill the quota that we think the terminology is describing. So the best tip I can give you here is to look at the number of stickings underneath RL, RL. That's only 4 strokes. That is what we are playing. It's really awkward with buzz rolls because one of the standard ways that we have to learn to play buzz rolls, to play all of the repertoire, is to interpret the correct subdivision to play, the correct number of strokes, contingent on the tempo and the underlying meter. So there is very much a convention in buzz roll playing that sometimes we add in more strokes than are immediately apparent to fill out the buzz roll. But that is not what's going on here. We are trying to create the precise number of strokes with a view to producing a buzz. It is the buzz stroke we are interested in, not the roll. So when you're practicing these, don't focus on trying to produce the roll at all costs and playing way more strokes than you're required to. Focus on producing the buzz stroke itself. And there your roll will develop. Now, as we progress to the second column, exercise 13 onwards to the bottom of that page, we have a different terminology and we notice that the tie has disappeared. We are now dealing with a 7-stroke closed roll with no tie, and it's still showing the same number of stickings, so this is becoming a little bit confusing now. Well, first of all, let's do what we have to do generally with measured rolls and remove the last stroke, because as always, the 7th stroke, the 9th stroke, the 15th stroke, whatever it may be, is actually the first note of the following repetition. So if we are playing a typical 5-stroke roll, the 5th stroke becomes the first note of what comes after it. Even though we're actually only playing 4 notes in the roll itself, we still call this a 5-note roll, a 5-stroke roll. So here, forget the fact that it's called a 7-stroke roll, we are actually going to play 6 strokes. Well, if each buzz stroke is counted as 2, that leaves us with 3 actual buzz strokes. And if you recall from the previous video, we talked about how the tie links the roll to the following note. When we remove the tie, we break that link by removing the double or removing the buzz. So we are not going to buzz the 4th stroke of this pack. This is going to give us the 3 buzz strokes, creating 6, and the 7th stroke as a normal single stroke. So we get buzz, 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 tap. Right, left, buzz, 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 tap. Right, left, buzz, 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 tap. This is all shown to us by the removal of the tie, and it is shown to us in its open variation on the page before. Now this has the effect, as we speed this up, of having the buzz roll appear to be disconnected from the second repetition. You can hear there's a single stroke at the end of the roll where previously the buzz roll carried on all the way through. There are still the same number of strokes, but we are removing the buzz on the final one. I appreciate it's awkward, but remember these are control exercises. We are trying to feel these as control studies, not just as a means to create a roll. So let's put these all to the test as we move on to page 13 and have a look at the extended roll studies starting on exercise 9. I said earlier, we're feeling these as 2 beats to the bar, and each bar comprises 4 eighth notes. When we look at exercise 9, we see an extended roll through the 3rd and 4th measures. We are going to count each roll as 1 beat of the bar. 2 main beats to the bar, 4 bars. Here's what it's going to sound like. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. I'm extending those rolls for 2 further beats, with each beat getting 4 strokes. And you can start to hear the effect that is created. I am assigning each beat of the bar 4 single strokes, whether they are buzzed or not. As we come down to exercise 11, we have the same thing, but the 4th stroke of each roll has had its buzz removed. All of those ties have removed. This is a really tricky one, actually, and it produces a really interesting effect. Really strange. But of course, the name of the game is stick control. You can hear the effect it's trying to get you to create there. Now, we're going to jump ahead a little bit to page 25, where we get our first time signature change. Exercise 1 on page 25, we are now in the time signature of 6/8. In a sense, this makes everything a lot easier because we're now just feeling 3 notes per beat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exercise 1, we have the same structure as the exercises we looked at previously, just with fewer strokes. So the first beat of the bar gets right, left, right, 3 strokes. The roll, which is now, because it's shorter, showing a 7-stroke closed roll, but with the tie, itself now only gets 3 strokes, but all of them are buzzed. Right, right, buzz, buzz, buzz. Right, right, buzz, buzz, buzz. The duration of the roll shows that it lasts for 3/8 notes, and the sticking given, notice there are now 3 stickings, left, right, left, shows us precisely how many strokes we are to play. Again, when you are practicing this slowly, we are not focusing on the roll itself, we are focusing on controlling the buzz strokes. It's only when we speed that up that we hear the desired effect. Same sort of thing otherwise. We know how many strokes we have to play, we just have to produce individual buzz strokes for each. Now, to the right-hand column, exercise 7 is precisely the same exercise, but the tie has been removed, so the 3rd stroke is losing its buzz. Right, buzz, buzz, tap. Right, buzz, buzz, tap. Again, we're trying to create this effect where the roll does not seem to connect to the notes that follow it. Now, when we go over the page to 26, this is when things start to get interesting. In the previous video, we were looking at how the different tuplets create unusual note groupings within the same beat. So at the top of page 26, we have an 8-note grouping in the time signature of 6/8. So we're using these tuplets to essentially fit in more notes than are already there. This is exactly what's happening in exercise 13. In exercise 13 on page 26, we are still in the time signature of 6/8. So the underlying subdivision is still 2 groups of 3/8 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. However, we can see on exercise 13, we are told to play a 9-stroke closed roll. So we're playing a buzz roll. The 9th stroke is the first note of the next bar, which means 8 strokes in the roll. Because the buzz roll is counted as 2, that means we are playing 4 single strokes, each one is buzzed. This is proven by the number of stickings given underneath. Left, right. We are now playing 4 single strokes in the space of 3/8 notes. So if we remove the time signature and we just think of everything against an underlying click, we've got a 3 followed by a 4. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. And we are buzzing the 4. Now, in the language of rolls, in the language of rudimental drumming, this creates a more dense roll. The duration of the roll is the same, but there are more notes in it. You can hear a more dense roll than we got with the 3. We have more notes to fit into the same duration. When we go across the column to exercise 19, we have the exact same thing, but it has become a 7-stroke roll. The tie has been removed, so the 4th stroke loses its buzz. 1, 2, 3, buzz, 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 tap. 1, 2, 3, buzz, 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 tap. It's a really interesting roll, that one. It's very bizarre, very weird. As we move across onto page 27, the exact same thing is happening, but we now have an even denser roll again. If we have a look at the sticking on exercise 13 on page 27, we now have 5 stickings given to us: left, right, left. If we double that as a buzz stroke is counted as 2, that's going to give us a 10-stroke roll. The 11th is the next note of the next bar, and that fulfills the 11-stroke closed roll that it's giving us. So previously we were doing a 3 and a 4. Now we're doing a 3 and a 5. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And each stroke of the 5 is getting a buzz. I really like these rolls. I think they can sound really nice and dense, even at quite slow tempos, relatively speaking. I think those rolls sound really nice, really traditional. And again, as we go to the right-hand column, exercise 19, we've got a 9-stroke roll now. The 5 single strokes are still there, but the 5th one has lost its buzz, and we've lost the tie. You can hear there a very strange effect. It's awkward. We're going from a 3 to a 5, and we're cutting the buzz off the 5th stroke. But that's the point. We're aiming for stick control. Gives quite an awkward effect, that one. Now, as we progress again, pages 28 and 29, we once again get these longer roll studies. Starting with exercise 11 at the bottom of page 28, we're doing what we did previously in cut common time, but we're now assigning 3 strokes per beat instead of 4. So bar 11, exercise 11, 1, 2, 3, buzz, 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 1, 2, 3, buzz, 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 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and triple. 1, 2, 3, we're feeling each beat as a group of 3. Again, at slower tempos, it's not going to sound like much. We're trying to articulate the buzz strokes. It's only when we speed it up that we get the desired effect. Which produces a lovely buzz roll, right? This long roll. Now, as we get across the page to 29, exercises 13, 14, and 15, some of perhaps the most difficult phrases in the book. If we have a look at 13, we've got the same extended roll study with the ties removed. That means the 3rd stroke of each roll is losing its buzz, as we've done up until this point. However, if we look at the sticking, we see that each buzz begins on the same hand. Right, right, buzz, buzz, buzz. Right, buzz, 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 starting on the left. Buzz, 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 left again, left, right, left, left, right, left, left, right, left. And each left hand at the end has lost its buzz. This is a really awkward one. Going to sound very awkward, very weird. That's the sort of thing we're going for. As we get through to the bottom of the page, it gets even harder now because we're doing the same thing but switching between the 3s and the 4s. So in exercise 20, the single strokes are our typical 3s, but then we're playing groups of 4 in the same space of time for the rolls. 1, 2, 3, buzz, 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 buzz. 1, 2, 3, buzz, 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 buzz. Then as we carry on through the long roll study, we maintain those groups of 4. Now it's a good idea to try to maintain a pulse for yourself here, so you can feel the beat. As we get down into exercise 22, we get the same thing, but again, those rolls stay on the right hand and they lose the buzz on the 4th stroke. Really tricky, as always. Now at the bottom We have the hardest one of them all, I think, exercise 24. Those consecutive buzz strokes alternate their sticking. So I'm going to do it very, very slowly. And that's the sort of effect it creates. And you can hear they are called short rolls. Really, really tricky. But that's what we're going for. Individual buzz strokes. Moving on, page 38, we now have the introduction of quarter note triplets. Again, this can put a lot of people off, but it needn't. We are just going to think of this in terms of the subdivision. So the basic exercise is a group of 4 and a group of 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. We've just done this same combination previously in 6/8, but in that instance, the single stroke played the 3 and the buzz played the 4. Now we're just simply doing the opposite. Looking at exercise 17, the single stroke plays the 4 strokes and the buzz plays the quarter note triplet. You can see again there are only 3 stickings given. Exercise 17, page 38, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. So in this instance, we're actually using a slower subdivision for the buzz. And it's only when we speed it up that, again, we get the desired effect. But I'm feeling those as just 3 single strokes, each one receiving a buzz. Likewise, as we get to exercise 21, it's the exact same thing. The last stroke loses its buzz, so we play 2 buzz strokes and a tap. Gives us this really weird, short, sharp roll. From here, it gets a little bit more exciting once again. Exercise 13 on page 39, we're going from 4s to 5s, but it's the same deal. 1, 2, 3, 4, buzz, 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 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can just look at the sticking underneath the exercise. Now, finally, everybody's favourite, as we progress to pages 40 and 41, we get the 12 tuplets and the 14 tuplets, groups of 6 and groups of 7. So let's start with the 6s on page 40, exercise 13. We have a group of 4 single strokes and a group of 6 buzzes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, buzz, 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 buzz. I can't say buzz fast enough. Giving us a very dense buzz at that speed. So as we go to page 41 and we do the exact same thing but with a group of 7, we probably want to slow the tempo down a little bit to actually make it playable. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4. And there we have it. There we have our buzz rolls, the intended 15-stroke closed roll, where we're actually playing 7 buzz strokes and the tap that comes after it. So I appreciate that that's a little bit awkward, not necessarily what you might have been expecting, and a little bit unintuitive in terms of the notation and certainly the terminology. But this is just the unfortunate reality of drums being converted into notation. Even today, nearly 100 years after stick control first came out, we in the percussion world still wrestle with inconsistent and ambiguous notation and terminology, especially where rolls are concerned. So I hope that this has helped shed some light on how these exercises can be practiced, how you can play them, and how you can approach them. If you've enjoyed this sort of analysis, you might enjoy The Rudimental Drummer. It is an extremely in-depth and comprehensive analysis of rudimental drumming, including the traditions of Switzerland, France, the UK, and of course America. A very in-depth conceptual look at the rudiments themselves, the history, the development, and countless examples of their application in the repertoire. So please explore that if you're interested. Many thanks for checking this video out. I hope it's been helpful for you. Good luck in your own practice, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you very much.